Hi guys, it's Stu here from Touch Sleeps, and welcome to the first in a series of videos we're going to be doing after getting quite a lot of requests for more of a breakdown of how we put our packs together, how we mix the demos, how we put the demos for packs together, and kind of what we do with the packs beyond their state that they're released in. So how you can use them a bit more in production. And all that good stuff. So a lot of people have been asking for this, so we're really happy to have an excuse to talk about the things that we do every day. So yeah, this one is a extension of our recent pack Fluidity that we released about a week ago, probably from the release of this, that I put together. It's very Arca-esque. I took a lot of inspiration from her work with FK Twigs on LP1, as well as sort of a lot of the granular techniques she uses in her own music. And it kind of has a bit of a trappy edge, which we're going to explore as well. So yeah, let's jump in. Before we do though, just to say this is Ableton that I'm using. I use Ableton exclusively for all the content I make for Touch Loops. We feel that that's probably what a lot of you are using. If we need to expand that into other DAWs, we will happily do so, because a lot of the techniques are, you can do them in all DAWs, but what I'll be explaining is how I do them in Ableton. So we'll start here and then we'll see how we go. So here's my drum rack in a piano roll. So let's go through and hear the sounds I'm using. Quite a boxy kick drum. Lots of low end, quite nice and round. This will be in the pack samples that we give away with this tutorial. And a slightly more found soundy second kick. Just have a bit of variety. And then very washed out clap and snare. All sounding pretty good together. A nice dry low end and a very washed out clap and snare works really well together. And then I've added some groove here using Ableton's Groove engine to give it that slightly more swung, hip-hoppy kind of feel without pushing it too hard. So it takes it slightly off the grid. If you were to zoom in there, you'd see that everything is slightly off. So yeah, that's that. Now let's move on to the hat design. So I draw the hats in, and this is going for that sort of trappy hat beat that moves through different subdivisions. So you can see there the grid is getting smaller and bigger as I draw in my notes, and I'm doing that by pressing Command 1 and 2. And then Command 3 switches it to a triplet grid, and you'll see as I go up and down through speeds how that works. And now we're just going to spread the sound from left to right using the random pan in Simpler. And we've added some more reverb, the same reverb that's on the clap and snare. And that's really washed it out and already created a pretty great atmosphere for us to work with. So now we're going to build on top of that with a really common Arca FK Twigs-esque sound. I've got a bunch of found sounds here that I've loaded up, again, that will all be in the samples that come with this tutorial. And I'm going to talk you through how I arrange, how this pattern arrangement is going to be printed onto the channel below and then imported into Granulator. So let's have a look at that. So here are each of my sounds, quite washed out again, give us that big 3D space. So that's my pattern. Nice amounts of space in between. So we're going to set the channel below here to resampling, and then we're going to record that input onto a fresh channel as audio. And now you need to make sure that you crop that audio. Well, you don't have to, but it keeps things clean. And then we're going to load up a granulator here below, draw in a fresh C3 note so that the pitch doesn't change. And now here, I've applied automation onto the file position, so you can see it moving around our imported loop there. And then here on the grain size, that's slowly oscillating in and out of speed. And then I've added a auto pan so that we move from left to right around the stereo spread. And now let's hear all of that together. So a little intense at the moment, but you can hear all those reverbs are working together. And also by printing the percussion MIDI that I wrote there, printing it to audio with the reverb on means that when we run it through the granulator, we'll get a much thicker sound that will chop much more obviously. And playing them together is really great because you fill the space quite quickly. And keeping it moving from left to right with the auto pan is a really, really good way of not letting too many things pile up on top of each other. Later on, when we go into the mix of this, we'll look at ways that you can really slot everything together with different EQ and sidechaining techniques. But from there, let's go into the melodic stuff. So here, I've got an ARP running. Here are my notes. We're in A minor. So I've loaded up a wavetable, and I've got my arpeggiator running at 16th notes. And we're going to start by changing the waveform to a saw wave. And then with the envelope, we're just going to roll off a little bit of that attack and give it more of a round sound. And then down here in the Unison engine, you can switch to the noise setting, up the voices. And as I go through here, you can hear how the sound slowly changes from something quite clean to something quite gritty. So Shimmer does a similar job, classic here as well. But the one we want is noise. It gives it that fuzzy, dirty sound. Around there is probably where we want it. And then if we go into the matrix window, we can modulate this wave shape using the envelope, just to, like with the drums, give it a bit more movement. That sounds great. And now with every other beat familiar. So quite a basic MIDI pattern there, but we've designed a really nice sound that will really bring it to life. So now we're going to look at the bass. I'm using the rough monosynth. We'll include a link to where you can get this from. It's free. And I'm going to start on A1 because we're in A minor and it's always easy to start on your root note. And all we're really doing here is tweaking the sound that the monosynth comes. One of the presets the monosynth comes in. So quite a long delay going for that sort of 808-ish bass sound. We're going to keep the drive quite low because we've already got quite a lot of driven sound in the ARP there. And by keeping the bass line really simple as well, we're not overcrowding anything too much in terms of sounds. Having that quarter note bass keeps everything quite even paced with all of this frantic percussion moving from side to side and speeding up and slowing down. So yeah, I think that helps quite a lot in having something that's easy to understand. So now I've loaded up Chromophone by Applied Acoustic Systems, a really good instrument. It sort of emulates organic sounds with its synth engine, sort of different bells and things. And again, quite a simple melody, but with all of the percussion we have, I don't feel like we need too much more fast-paced sounds. So we've gone through the effects here. We'll just turn those off and use our own effects, which we have sent here. So the echo here is Ableton stock echo, set to ping pong, so we keep that wide stereo image. You can up the reverb a bit to thicken that sound if you want. I feel like we probably don't need too much more of that. And then the send A there is just a reverb send. So yeah, the chromophone here kind of takes the lead. It's always good, I think, to have a sound that is up front that you can grab onto, and then everything else kind of fills out the space behind. So let's go straight into the next one. This is a preset from Wavetable. Let's have a look. So if you go into the voices folder within Wavetable, here we go. Kind of something between a voice and a synth, which is very Arca. And I've again got pretty simple triads here. And it's minor, but because we're ascending up the scale, it has quite a hopeful feel to it. And we're going to add a little bit of vinyl distortion. You can hear how that affects it, just to kind of blend it in and give us a bit more of a noise bed that I think will slot really nicely in with everything else. And you can tweak the amount of voices, reverb, delay. So there you go. Hopefully that is helpful. It's sort of a quite a quick and simple look into how some of this stuff is made. Next, Rich will go through the same session, and he's going to talk about how he would mix this for the demo. So I would probably export these now. I wouldn't put too much sidechaining or mix effects onto the raw stems, because really we want to leave that up for you guys to do, because you know, that kind of flexibility can be quite important depending on your own track. But Rich is going to show you how some of those processes can be applied to help really bring these things to life and glue them together in the demo. So yes, I'll be back with another one of these shortly. Make sure you let us know what you want more of or less of in the next one, and I'll try and incorporate that. So yeah, thanks guys.